And I think I now recognize Mr. Hultgren for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I appreciate you all being here. This is a very important hearing, and it's something that I'm passionate about as a member of this committee. I see sparking an interest in young people in STEM fields as a vital part of what we need to be doing, and certainly what our nation's needs in order our nation needs to remain competitive going into the future. More importantly than that, I do think discovery and innovation are part of our DNA as a nation. Back in my district, I've had the privilege of starting a STEM Scholars program where I meet with about 30 young people, high schoolers from around my district. I represent 7 counties just outside of Chicago. And this is our second year of having our STEM Scholars, and I meet with them once a month. I'm going to be with them this Saturday for a couple of hours. We go to different parts around northern Illinois to see how they can apply STEM education and STEM passion in careers right in our area. We're so fortunate to have some great laboratories like Fermilab and Argonne, but we have some amazing companies that are doing some really cool work as well. And every place I go, people are looking to hire more engineers, more programmers, so we need to keep figuring out ways to spark that. I asked them if they had any questions for you all. I hope it's all right. I'm going to throw out some questions from my STEM scholars and see what your thoughts are. One of the scholars, Aiken from Oswego, stressed the importance of hands-on learning and the effects that internships for high school students can have. These are often hard to find and take a company that is willing to host. His school can also give credits for these internships. How can we measure the success of this kind of career exposure at a younger age, and how can we improve the relationship between businesses and schools to develop these opportunities?
I'll give you one example, and this is at the 4-year level, because there's a concern even at the 4-year level that many of our students, even our engineering students, are very good from a book point of view, but they don't know the difference between a Phillips head screwdriver and a regular head screwdriver.
I struggle with that too, but...
One program is we're working with industry is we're working with Northrop Grumman. Morgan State University is located in the Baltimore-Washington region. Part of that industry is national security. They have a program called Cyber Warriors. And what they have done is they're working with our students. They have them do hands-on coding. They actually do mock attacks on systems. And so that our students can get that hands-on, plus coupled with internships. You know, when I came along, I won't say how long ago, you could come out and not have an internship during the summer. You'd go work for a company, and they'd say you can get up to speed in 2 years. But most businesses nowadays are out of business in 2 years if they can't have an employee who hits the ground running. And so also with many of our companies, as well as government partners like the Navy, we work very early on. Freshmen coming in and getting internships and getting hands-on experience, coupled with their formal learning, makes a product that comes out the door that both industry and government wants.
That's great. One of my STEM scholars from our first year was a high school student, but was also part of a cyber warrior team through his high school where they were doing, like you said, these types of mock attacks, but also learning from it. And I talk about it even with my own kids. I've got 4 kids, but my younger guys, 13 and 16, whenever they travel with me, they're my tech support team. So whenever I've got a problem or a question with my technology, they're the ones to answer. Let me get through another question quick. Another student, Taylor, who goes to school in Elgin, had some questions about your experiences as being mentors. How willing are you to take on a mentee, and how many are you able to work with? Have you turned anyone down? Also, how valuable are these experiences to you as a mentor? Would throw it out maybe to one of the other panelists if anybody has a thought on being a mentor.
You know, the way we sort of deal with that is that we have a couple different groups on campus that specifically serve as
right.
mentors. So we have Women in Technology, and we basically have about 60 ex-graduates of the institution, and we pair them up with current students for mentorship. So it really expands our capacity. And we have that in several other areas. And then one of the other things I'd mention, you mentioned the national labs. We work with Argonne National Labs, and you know, they host an annual SCADA competition that students are able to actually get hands-on experience. But they have a group of businesses that work with the participants and provide mentorships and trips to their facilities, right. and so on.
Fantastic.
One of the things we learned from the beta test that we completed is that the students are pretty excited about being involved in a real project in a real business.
That's right.
And what the business told us, actually what the VP in charge of that division told us, was that it gave a new life to many of his long-term employees, that they really felt that having the young person there changed their perspective as well. And so they had a reverse mentoring day every so often where the student would mentor the older worker as well. And so mentoring within a formal organization, actually our experience has been that has been a tremendous boon, both the organization and to the student. If I might mention, one of the things that we heard from industry is that if you hire a new engineer with a bachelor's degree, it takes approximately 2 years for that engineer to contribute to your bottom line. Which is why you'll hear industry say there are no engineers available. Right. Well, there are, but they're young ones, right? And so what we found is as we put students through the apprenticeship program, that it cut the time to profitability for the business to 6 months. So it had a huge impact on the bottom line of the business. It had a huge impact on the workers who were working with the students, and it really changed the quality of the students' education.
That's fantastic. I'm out of time. I have more questions for my STEM scholars. I may follow up in writing if that's all right to get answers to my STEM scholars. One last thing I'll say is quite a few of my STEM scholars are part of robotics. First Robotics has been amazing. This idea of gracious professionalism, teaching young people, I think that's something we need to learn here in Congress about the idea of gracious professionalism. But so excited again about the mentor relationship that we see through robotics, but so many other things. And really encouraging Dr. Bardo to hear about how it is cutting down that time it takes for someone to add real value on the ground. So thank you. Thank you all for your work. Look forward to figuring out how we can work together as well for what we know is the right thing for America. With that, thank you, Chairwoman. I yield back.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Bardo.